keep popping, you beautiful humans. My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sipping the Tea Quarantine Edition, where we what, girl? We sip some tea, and now guess what?
Feel that tea. You left me hanging.
I love you hanging, girl, because you got the voice from the heavens.
No. Who do you got over there?
I got Miss Mama, who's about to make a break for it.
And I have little Glitty, where she's like, Mommy, bye-bye. So I'm going to let her go do her thing.
And we got a special guest. There's some history between the two of y'all. You go way back. Natalya Neidhart, WWE superstar, breaking walls, both inside the ring, but breaking down barriers outside the ring with like in the world. And I think the impact that you're making is so important. So my lovely Queen of Harts, welcome, my darling.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. I was like, when Ari reached out to me and said, would I like to be on the show? When she asked me if I wanted to be on her show, I was like, I haven't done, that many interviews and videos during this quarantine, and anything that I have done, I'm like, it's been a little monotonous, but to speak with Ari and to speak with you, it's such a pleasure. And I'm really grateful that you asked me to be on the show, Ari. I appreciate it.
Girl, we're grateful that you wanted to come on. Next time when we're back in LA and when COVID is not popping, you have to come in our studio in West Hollywood. So.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah. But speaking of quarantine, obviously 2020 has been a shit show and lots of negative things have happened, but, we're going to flip it. What are some positive takeaways that you've gotten from quarantine and just kind of what's happened in 2020 in general?
I mean, it's been a crazy year. We've never had to deal with anything like this. Like, I was thinking about it. I write a weekly column for the Calgary Sun, and this week I was really struggling to write a column because I don't like to write anything. I don't like to put anything out there unless it's positive. But this week was a really hard week for me. I just felt really isolated. I felt really alone. I'm just kind of like feeling the way that everybody else is feeling, like over it, just over not being able to do the things that we love, like going to, my favorite, rock concert, or the job that I had in WWE, or that the job that I have in WWE, but what we used to do in WWE was perform in front of fans. And when your job requires you to travel the world, you're in planes and rental cars, and you're in a different city, state, country, continent every single day of the week, and then you're performing in front of millions of people and then tens of thousands of fans live every day. It takes a toll on you when your life goes from literally 60 miles an hour to zero.
Yeah.
And I've just been struggling with it like everybody else, but I've also been finding silver linings in it. And, it's not easy to find the positives during a pandemic. But the one thing is that I haven't ever had time off from WWE in 12 years. So I've never, knock on wood, I've never had an injury. I've never taken time away. So during this quarantine, it really gave me a chance to just spend some time in my own bed, to see my mom, to spend time with my sister. We started a YouTube channel just for fun, to be creative, to use my voice more, and to really just to surround myself with a good support system. Those have really been the silver linings for me.
I love hearing that. And I mean, that's good because, you and I both know that road life, it's what you get used to. As much as you want time away, you're also like, oh, I need time to myself. It's always like that catch-22. But right. This is a great time to just kind of have you time, because once it's back again, it's like, girl, it's no stopping. It's just go, 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 go.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I want to touch on 12 years. This is your first mental kind of break to get in touch with yourself. But I want to rewind and be like, how did your journey in the start lead you into the WWE? And how did this all kind of come to be who you've become?
Well, I started wrestling in 2001. I was hosting a kids' TV show that never really got off the ground, but I was asked to host it, and Eric Bischoff was behind the scenes. He was sort of in charge of it, and Mauro Ranallo was a commentator on it. And of course, my husband, TJ, and my cousin, Harry, and my cousin, Teddy Hart were a part of it. So that's kind of why I started learning how to wrestle, was to be a part of that show. And then once I got down to training in my grandfather's basement, which is very famously called the Dungeon, once I started training to wrestle, I just had so much fun. It was like the most fun I've ever had. And it's not just about what you do in the ring. It's also about a brotherhood, a sisterhood. It's like this camaraderie that you have with the people that you work with. And it really became such a great outlet for me. And it just became my passion. And of course, a lot of people, know of my family. My dad was a wrestler. My uncles were wrestlers. My grandfather was a wrestler. And so it's a family thing. It really does run in my vein. It's in my blood. But I do love what I do. I love wrestling. And although I'm inspired by my family, I was really inspired by a few women in the industry that were really starting to take off when I was a teenager, like Trish Stratus and Lita and Molly Holly and Victoria and so many women that like came before me that paved the way before this women's revolution. So for me, like, it's cool to be carrying on that family tradition, but like, I love it. I have fun with it. It's a job, it's a career that's allowed me to travel the entire world and back again, make money, see incredible things, meet incredible people from every walk of life, meet kids that are going through hell. I've met so many kids that are, going through terminal cancer or that are struggling with leukemia, and to be able to use the reach that we have in WWE and then to be able to impact their lives, you realize, like, I wouldn't be able to make a kid's day the same way that, like, if I didn't have that reach of being in WWE, because it's not like, kids that are going through hell, they appreciate love of any sort. But when you get Roman Reigns walking into a hospital, these kids, the doctors have told us, like, their vitals go up. They get so excited and it gives them so much hope. So for me to be just a little part of that hope, and I've been a part of a lot of those hospital visits and stuff like that, like, WWE has helped me be able to do that because of the reach that I have with them on a global scale.
That last part that you just said is so touching. And I think that journey and you being able to impact and give back is so beautiful to watch that. And I think I love that you brought that up. That really touches me. I think that you sometimes people don't realize the connection that they have and don't realize that they can use their platforms for greater good. And I just love hearing you speak so from the heart about that. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, it's all about connections. It really is. It's about connecting with people on a human level. And like, although what we do in the ring is amazing, it's so much fun. And Ari knows, like, that rush of the crowd and you're walking out, it's WrestleMania, it's like 80,000 people. It's really, really cool. But you also just meet people, from different walks of life that are going through something really hard. And, this week I wrote about, in my column, I wrote about Kathy Laurinaitis, the Bella's mom, and how, and I know her from wrestling. I know her from the Twins. I wouldn't know of her if I didn't know the Twins, who work with me in WWE. And Kathy, she had a brain tumor, and she had to have, it was like a mass in her brain stem. So it was very similar to like a brain tumor, but she had to have brain surgery. And so again, she is somebody that you're just inspired by. I'm so inspired by her because it's like, yeah, everybody is going through a crazy time right now. We're all going through a lot of shit, to put it mildly. And
on it, because that's facts.
Yeah. And then when I look at Kathy, I said this in my column, I said, I'm so inspired by Kathy because, I've been feeling like this week, I just felt like down. I felt isolated. I felt alone. I felt like, when are we ever going to feel normal again? And like, I don't like wearing a mask, but I have been vigilant about wearing masks. But like the other day I walked into Walgreens, I forgot to put a mask on, and I was like, I walked out so embarrassed because I was like, oh my God, I forgot to put a mask on. But like 6 months ago or 3 months ago, we never would have even thought that, because this is all just like so new to us. And so while this has just been an especially hard week, I don't know, I'm just feeling like you go through those different stages. But like, then I thought about Kathy. She had a brain tumor during a pandemic where, it was a life-threatening situation for her. And I thought, again, you meet people in this industry through WWE, and you meet them not just in the ring, but outside of the ring, that inspire you and lift you up. And she is one of those people that just like lifted me up, made me go, Like, okay, if Kathy can get through a brain tumor and she can, you know, find the strength to keep going and persevering and pushing on during a pandemic, you know, I am going to be okay. Feeling a little isolated and alone, yes, it's normal. Because we're all literally in that boat. Nobody is exempt from this. The Rock isn't exempt from this. He's,
Exactly.
you know, he's going through it too. So,
but you can't,
we're not alone.
You can't not, you have to still keep your feelings and they're validated. It doesn't matter if, you know, you think it's small or it's big. We all go through, you know, different waves, and there's no small or big, because you can never tell someone how to feel, you know, but
yeah,
this is
exactly.
such a crazy time. And I think for me, it doesn't make me feel better, but I know for a lot of people, it makes them feel better saying, well, everybody globally is going through something, whether that means they lost their job or they lost a family member through COVID. I think it's just about having like the peaks and valleys and just embracing and saying, today or this week isn't my week, but it's really no big deal. But what I do have to say, girl, is, you know, with everything that's happening, you've made such a huge impact. You know, when you do want to get, you know, sad, remember these moments of like the impact and how you had in Saudi Arabia, girl, where you made history, which no one can ever, you know, like that's so big. And it's not only you make history, yeah, but you've made history for women and for what's to come. So walk us through that experience and, you know, what that means, not for just women in wrestling, but for women in the world.
Well, I mean, being a part of the first ever women's match in Saudi Arabia, it was just a transcending experience, because it wasn't like, and I've said this before, but it's true. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about Lacey. It wasn't about WWE. It was about opening a door for women in the world that had never been opened before. No women have ever performed in Saudi Arabia before. Yeah. So we were the first women to actually have a performance, not just like and of course it was wrestling, but we were the first women to ever perform there. So it was like life-changing, because so many women were in the audience, and so many women that night, they just had so much hope watching myself and Lacey compete. And we just felt so excited that we were able to break down that barrier and to go, like, the world is, you know, every day great things are happening and we're a part of that greatness. And
yeah,
it was such a great experience. It will be one of the most special moments in my career. I mean, I really don't know what can top it, because it wasn't about wrestling. It was about women, you know, again, having a special door open for them that they didn't have that before in Saudi Arabia. And WWE, Vince McMahon, in particular, he fought very, very hard for us girls, myself and Lacey, for the women to have a match. And, you know, he, like, you think about Vince and he's kind of like the Wizard of Oz, you know, he has all these magical powers, but he really fought tooth and nail for us to have that. And I was just like, when I was told that I was having the match, I felt like I was on cloud 9, and I knew it was something that, that women around the world could get excited about, whether they watch WWE or not, they could get excited about it.
Yeah. Making that history.
The hairs on my arms. I was like, when you said though, the women in the stadium too, I was like, that, bam, blows your mind. That's great. All these moments and your longevity within the WWE, but within the kind of entertainment genre and field, what would what would be your starting off point to somebody that's perhaps moving into wrestling or WWE, or is in school and looking up to you and being like, I would like to do what she would do? What would you say to that young woman?
Well, I mean, there's so many women that, you know, have approached me about, hey, I want to get into WWE, or it looks like what you guys do is really fun. And the first thing I always tell them is, you know, like, I feel like you have to enjoy watching WWE. You have to kind of like the product, you know. And I'm just speaking from my heart, but like, I feel like you don't have to be a diehard fan, but you have to watch the product. You have to know it. You have to understand it. Because if people tell me that they want to do what I want to do and they've never watched a WWE show before, I'm like, well, you don't know what it is that we do. Yeah. It's a crazy, wild, wonderful world, but it's intense. And I always feel like, I feel like it's always best to start out as a fan, even as a casual fan. I meet so many casual fans that you're like, you actually kind of realize they're like diehard fans. But you have to kind of enjoy it. You have to like it. And like, I watch wrestling from every walk of life. I love watching all sorts of wrestling. I watch a lot of independent wrestling. I watch stuff from Japan. I watch everything because I just want to see what everybody's doing. But if somebody is interested in getting into wrestling, getting into WWE, I always like to know that they're a fan. I think being a fan is important. You have to kind of like the product. You need to be athletic. You know, you can't, it's really hard to be successful in WWE if you have 2 left feet. It's not to say it's impossible, because certainly in WWE you can rely on other things, but I think it really helps if you are somewhat athletic and you take care of your body and you're into your health, because you have to be in pretty good shape to do what we do, especially when we're performing around the world like year round. And you also, I think, need to have a flair for the dramatics, which I can tell you that Ariane and Trinity, when you guys were Funkadactyls, you guys were so well-rounded. You were not only dramatic.
Repeat that again, please. A flair for the dramatics.
A flair for the dramatics, like the Funkadactyls. Hi, Mary. The Funkadactyls. I feel like you girls were so well-rounded. You guys had all the bases covered. You had the look. You had the gear, you had the dance moves, you could go in the ring, and you also knew how to bring the dramatics, because we're putting on a show. It's not just an amateur wrestling match, it's an exhibition. And I think that's why you guys were so successful as the Funkadactyls. It was fun to watch. Even your entrance was cool. It made everybody want to stop and watch.
Oh, so that, Nat. Thank you so much. Especially for someone who, like you said, who didn't come from a wrestling background. And, you know, I was very honest, like I didn't grow up watching wrestling, but I grew to love it so much. So my story was a little different, but I do
have to be a diehard fan. But you have to, you know, when you turn on WWE, you have to go, this is cool. I would like, totally. This is awesome. I enjoy it. There's a lot of people that are uber successful in WWE that didn't grow up as like diehard fans. Trish Stratus is one of them.
Totally.
You know, but she would watch it casually and she liked the product. But if you don't enjoy wrestling, you might not want to do it. Even if it will make you famous.
I agree, because you have to have a passion, because people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. They don't realize how much, they just see the after, you know, they don't realize the travel, and you know, just it's a lot. But I mean, you've created such a legacy, so you should be so proud of yourself, Nat.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been a long road.
But you still have so much more to offer, and I want to dive a little bit into Total Divas. Yes. So, you know, you've always kind of had the role of, you know, being like the mama bear, being there for everybody. So do you think that there's a future for you and TJ to have some kiddos?
You know what? I'm just going to be blunt, like, because I think it's better just to come right out and say it. But like, I've never had a desire to be a mom. Not once, not like, you know, even when I was growing up, I was never like interested in having kids. And I've met people like my little sister, for example. She really, you know, even when we were kids, she always talked about being a mom. She wanted to be a mom. And like, I just never had that desire. It just wasn't inside me. And TJ is kind of the same way. Like you know, it's not that we don't like kids, but we're just, I don't know. I mean, I'm one of those people that will say never, but it's not really in the cards right now. It's definitely not in the cards. And it's not something I really desire.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like that's the perfect answer, because sometimes people feel like they have to say like, oh, you know, kids are in the card. But I agree, because I say the same thing. I just don't know if it's in my realm. There's still so much I want to do. And I'm like, ooh, having a child, I feel like I'm still a little selfish. So yeah, everyone has their reasons. Can you spill the tea, girl? Can we expect another season of Total Divas?
Well, I am hoping so. I mean, we want to get through this pandemic. It's challenging right now to film a new season, because there's, you know, when we have a cast, it's like 6 to 8 girls, sometimes more, as we know. And it's challenging right now to get a film crew and to get a whole cast of girls together. It's like, I was thinking about, those are the things I really miss about like the way things were before COVID, but you know, going on those cast vacations, and like we would also get really close to the crew, and you know, you work with them so much. I worked with them for 7 years, and I miss like filming, and we would film, you know, Total Divas it was our life behind the scenes in WWE and then at home.
Yeah.
And so the show would capture so much. It would capture us at wrestling events, and it would capture our family life. But right now we can't let extra people into the performance center. We can't do cast vacations. It's like things are on hold right now until things settle down. So, I mean, the WWE is being very careful about letting, we're only allowed to have a certain amount of people at the PC. It's like at the performance center, I should clarify. But, so when we can have a crew together again, and when we can have our cast together again, and when we can have a film crew of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people, I think we'll definitely have another season of Total Divas. It's just hard right now. It's like things are just put on hold.
Okay.
So fingers crossed.
I think you should do a blast from the past and, pack Ariane in your luggage and see how that rolls around.
Those were my favorite seasons. Those Ari knows. Those were so much fun. I mean, think about the time that remember when you let my cat out and the cat got lost?
Yes, I was actually just watching that. Someone tagged me in that particular episode, and I was like, oh my gosh, Natty is gonna fucking kill me.
We had so much fun on that show. I mean, I remember Summer slapped me, and there was a lot of drama between you and Trin. I had drama with Trin. I had drama with Summer. I had drama with Eva. I had drama with everybody on the show.
Yeah, memory lane.
Such good memories.
Well, to wrap it up, before we do some quick rapid fires, what's next for you? Once everything is, even if it's not, even right now, what's next for you inside and outside the ring?
Well, once things settle down and we can get back to normal life where I can, feel like a human being again with the rest of the world, my husband and I, TJ and I have wanted to open up our own wrestling school. So we have a warehouse that we have picked out, and we're currently leasing the space. So we're going to get a ring put in there, and we want to have a place for us and our friends and students to train there. So that's something that we're really looking forward to doing. If you follow me on social media, you know that TJ and I also started a supplement company together called Workhorse Fitness, which has been awesome because both of us love to work out, and both of us are always, and our friends at WWE, we're always, thinking about our health and fitness, and we're always in the gym, we're always in the ring. And so we wanted to put out a line of products that people could use and not feel like they're taking rat poison because everybody's systems are delicate. But some of those pre-workouts are
woo, yes.
They're so intense that you almost can't work out. And we didn't want to put that out. We wanted something that everybody could use, that, you just have this clean energy. So that, our Workhorse Fitness is something that we're really proud of, that we're growing together. During the quarantine, TJ and I built this awesome home gym in our garage. It's very cool. We just realized that there's no better investment than investing in our health. And so no matter what, even on Christmas Day, we can work out. And then also something that I really want to do is, and I've been approached about doing it, I want to do a documentary on my dad and on my dad's life. And because my dad wasn't just a WWE superstar, my dad played in the NFL. He played for the Dallas Cowboys and the Oakland Raiders. He was a world-class shot putter. When my dad was 18 years old, he was the second best shot putter in the United States. And, he had a full scholarship to UCLA, and then ended up, after his football career was over, he ended up coming to train with my grandfather, and then he ended up getting hired by WWE and becoming a 2-time WWE tag team champion. So he has this really cool life. And, towards the end of his life, my dad got Alzheimer's. And so I think I really, really am excited about putting a documentary together about my dad. And when I watched the Andre the Giant documentary on, I believe it was HBO, either HBO or Showtime, I can't remember. HBO, TJ, correct me, HBO. When I watched the Andre the Giant documentary on HBO, it was one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, and it just gave me such an insight into Andre's life. And I said to my mom and sisters, I would love to be an executive producer on a documentary on my dad and tell his story and really touch on so many different things that we don't always touch base on. Sure. When we're telling stories about athletes, we don't always talk about mental health. We don't always talk about, a darker side and things that people go through when their career as an athlete is over, and how they transition and different things like that. So So that is something I really want to do. And I think it'd be such a great way to honor my dad, but also like to do something different. I'm always about wanting to grow and do different things. That's why my sister and I started a YouTube channel, because we knew.
Like, she's a Jill of all trades, this one.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but it's keeping busy. It's the perfect time to do that.
Yeah, and right now everything is just so scaled down. Like at the Performance Center, when I did my match, I wrestled at WrestleMania against Liv Morgan. There was only 6 people in the building because WWE is just being so careful about how many, we had our producer there, who is my husband, Liv and myself, a referee and a cameraman. And it's just, we can only have so many people together at once. And so Jenny and I were like, well, shit, we could do a YouTube channel and just have it be the 2 of us. We can, we can get TJ to film, and we can we've been really careful too about just when we can just lay low. And just distance when we need to, because we want to stay safe. So that's kind of what we're doing, but there's lots of fun things I want to do. And I of course I would love for there to be another season of Total Divas. I would love to compete at WrestleMania next year with fans. I know April's a ways away, but you never know. Never say never, because I'm never say never. We could have WrestleMania in a stadium by April. I'm very hopeful.
Girl, put it into the universe and let it manifest and say that it will happen.
Absolutely.
Yes, I personally believe that there will be another WrestleMania with fans, and it'll be next year, 2021. There's going to be fans. It's going to be in a stadium, and we're just going to pick right back up where we left off. And in the meantime, I will add that I am so proud of my coworkers and WWE and just the guys and the girls that I work with, everybody from the producers to the cameramen to just everybody backstage and in front of the cameras, for continuing to try to move forward in a safe way, so that we can, that we can make people smile, and that we can, I know it sounds corny and cheesy and cliched, but to be able to, if people can turn on their TV and watch Monday Night Raw or watch SmackDown or watch WrestleMania, it's just a way to get your mind off of things. So there's something different to watch on TV, because I know I can only watch What About Bob so many times.
No, for real.
But you have to press forward. You just have to keep going forward, even if it's altered. You just still have to try.
Adapting. And that's what you're doing. You're even during, no matter what, like I said, you can never discredit your feelings when having, the roller coaster ride, because we're going through such a time that we've never experienced. But, I got to take my pretend hat off to you, Nat, because even with everything that you're doing with, now creating a space to be able to train students and your YouTube channel. And then it's like you've always just been so great at everything. I know for sure making a documentary is going to be just piece of cake, and it's going to be great. So, Nat, you are the bomb. So just keep doing what you're doing. We're going to go ahead and wrap on up and do some quick rapid fires.
Okay.
Matt, do you want to kick it off? Remember, think rapid, girl, because sometimes people
say ladies first. Gladly, darling. Let's go. Ready now?
Yes.
Here we go. Mornings or late nights?
Late nights.
The last show you binge watched on?
Tiger King.
Yeah. Your favorite beverage?
Red wine.
Yes, honey.
Yes. 3 words that describe you?
Loyal, driven, and compassionate.
Bam. And that's no better way to end it.
Yes.
Vibes from you. This was one of my favorite quarantine episodes. So I'll let Ari cut it away to
Thank you, Matt.
Yes. So let everybody know who's not already following you, where they can follow you at, your YouTube channel, plug, your supplement company. Girl, go ahead and spill the tea.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me on. You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Nat by Nature, NATBY Nature. And then, on my Instagram, we have links to our supplement company, Workhorse Fitness. And if you want to watch my sister and I be very goofy on YouTube, you can follow us on the Neidharts. So just the Neidharts. But yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on. Thank you, just being able to even just talk about my feelings today. I think it was it's just positive vibes. And that's why I'm so grateful that I was invited by both of you to be on the show. So thank you so much.
Girl, it's an honor. Thank you for coming on. So where can everybody follow you at, Mr. Matt?
Matt Dillon 1983 as per usual. And I'll throw it back to you, my queen. Where do we find you, girl?
You guys can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew. And until next time, guys, we will catch you on the same time, same place of Sipping the Tea, quarantine style. Yes, Hannah.